In this video, we're going to do several constructions that all rely on finding and using the midpoint of a triangle side. And we know how to find midpoints of segments. We use our perpendicular bisector construction. So if I have a point here and a point here and I want to find the point in the middle, I know that it lies somewhere on the segment that connects them. And the way I find exactly where that point is to center my compass here, open up more than half, and put some arc. Then I flip around to the other side of the segment and I make the exact same arc. And when I connect through those intersection points, I get two things. Right here, I get the midpoint. And let's say this segment was called AB, so this is the midpoint of AB. And then this is the perpendicular bisector of AB. And we're going to use this process of finding the midpoint on the sides of a triangle to do three constructions. Two of them are related. Well, they're all related because they all rely on finding this point, and then just depending on how you connect things, you get different results. So the first thing we're going to do is this. We start out with a triangle. And we pick one of the sides to find the midpoint. I'm just going to pick this one right here. So I would do my perpendicular bisector construction. I would open up more than half, make an arc, open up more than half, make an arc, put my perpendicular bisector through here, and I would find the midpoint. If I take that midpoint and I connect it to the vertex that is opposite from it, I get this segment which receives a special name. It is called a median, and it connects the vertex connects a vertex, because there are three of them, so we'll say it connects a vertex of a triangle to the midpoint of the opposite side. So I could do that once and I could create one median. Or I could do it a couple times. I could find the midpoint of this side, connect the vertex, and put one median into the picture. Then I could find the midpoint of this side. That would be a different construction. So I would open up more than half, put my arc, connect it. Then I'd have to open up more than half on this side, put an arc, connect it, find this midpoint, put in this median. Then I would do it to this side, open up more than half, put an arc, flip it around, put an arc, connect this, find this midpoint, put in this median. And when you put all three medians into the picture, they meet at a point here which receives a special name. This is called the centroid of the triangle. It is where all three medians intersect. And then the last thing we could do is start out with a triangle, find the midpoint of this side, find the midpoint of this side, find the midpoint of this side, and instead of connecting vertices to make medians, I could just connect these midpoints. When I connect the midpoint of one side to the midpoint of another side, this segment right here, it gets a special name. It is called a midsegment, and they connect midpoints of each side. There are three of them. There's one here, there's one here, there's one here. If you put all three of them in, you get this cool Triforce looking kind of figure. And these are the constructions we're going to do. Let's get some nice, a big clean piece of paper, because this is kind of a messier construction. You're going to have a lot of marks and you want to have a lot of space to be able to see what you're doing. Okay, let's start out by making some triangle. And all of these constructions rely on the same process over and over, which is finding the midpoint, finding the midpoint, finding the midpoint. So let's find each midpoint. I'm going to go to this vertex here, center myself, open up more than half. That looks good. And I make an arc, and I go on one side of the segment, and then I go on the other side of the segment. I don't care about any of these other sides. I'm just finding the midpoint of this side. So I flip around over here, make my arc, connect the intersection points, and find that point. So that is one midpoint. Then I'll do the same thing to this side, more than half. Flip around to the other side. I make the exact same arc, and then I connect the intersection points, and I get another midpoint. And then I'll do it to this side. Barely intersected, just to be safe. Let's extend this one a little more. That looks good. These need to get connected. And now I have another midpoint. And now into this picture, I'm going to put both sets of constructions. One thing we could do is, let me find a marker, I could connect the midpoints to each other. And if I connect the midpoints to each other, I end up making 1, 2, 3 mid segments. Or instead of connecting the midpoints to each other, I could connect this midpoint to this vertex over here. And then this vertex to that midpoint over there. And finally, this vertex to that midpoint over there. And now we have 3 medians in the picture, and that point right there is extra special. It is the centroid.